What is up, my dudes? Today we are looking at the SH Figuarts Shinkocchou Seihou Kamen Rider Faiz.
Open your eyes for the next Faiz.
Taking him out of the box and into the photo booth. I like him. I have qualms, but I like him. Starting with articulation, he has a little bit more range than other Seihou SHF. You can kind of see here, like, for his foot detail, they kind of give him a little bit like a floating ankle piece. So when he does like a kicking pose or like a crouching pose, that it doesn't impede his articulation. So at least here, he has a ankle. Yeah, he has an ankle pivot. He has a toe bend right here with all the details that you need for Faiz on the bottom. Then he has an interesting build where it doesn't really have a lot of downwards motion. It has a good amount of upwards motion, but I don't expect like a lot of, downwards motion for this suit. But then he has really impressive like ankle pivot concerning for a Kamen Rider figure. Then I believe, I think so. You can kind of see it. He has a ball joint like right above the ankle, so he has a little bit more flexibility when it comes to his leg articulation. So it's the same on that side too, same on the other side, except this side has a slot for the Faiz pointer, and then he doesn't have anything on the other side. That's just per the design. And then he has very good I don't want to say 90-degree bend. He can get that far, and if we pull it back, he can't get super far, but he still can get like a good like deep pose. He has basically full 360 I want to say a swivel. And then, as I kind of showed earlier, he has very good forward and very good side. Well, not completely 90 degrees. He can't do like a full splits. You can do a 90% of the splits. And I'm going to talk about this later, but I'm going to set this off to the side. So, yeah. So then, I'm pretty sure that this piece is like just like kind of like rubber overlay. Not rubbery, but like it's a soft plastic overlay. So let's set him back for a second, and then we will get to his upper half. Coming to his upper half, we have basically the whole Faiz gear belt system. I do like how the Seihou gave us the option to turn the belt, so when he does the henshin, it basically works all the way. And then for his Faiz gear, it comes with all the options that I would say that you require for that. So you have, the pieces of the Faiz gear where, let's see here, you have the pointer for kick mode and belt mode. Then you have the camera or the shot in camera mode. Oh, this might be camera mode. I think so. And then you have the knuckle mode. And that's for the accessories. And then for the Faiz phone, you have a version without the memory on it. And then you do have a version with the memory on it. So it comes with two versions of the Faiz phone. And then he comes with, also, if I can get this off, a gun form for the Faiz phone. I got a little bit carried away. I went on from talking about like his upper body to talking about his accessories, but we'll get to the upper body now. So he has a like full, it's like, I think it's like a 2 ball joint setup. So there's a ball joint here, and then there's a ball joint here going into like holes and all that kind of stuff. So he can go pretty far when it comes to this. So we have that. And then they did something interesting, because I know you see a lot of customizers do it, and I know this is something that probably would be good for Figuarts of Kamen Rider going towards the future, but I think the execution is a little weird. So what they did was the shoulder pads are connected to the armor. So they're not like old SHF where, let me just grab one right here. They're not like older SHF like Evoltier where the armor is connected to the shoulder and the armor moves with the shoulder, and you can kind of see here that's how it usually works on most SHF. So set that back off to the side for a second. For him, his armor is connected to the armor, and you see a lot of people do that with their figures and other figures, but they use a kind of a more of a, let me think, I'm trying to think. They use more of like a stretchy material or more like malleable material. But then, let's see, do that. It does get a little bit in the way of like articulation here. I don't think you're really going to need back articulation, but you get good back articulation. But he does have 90 plus. Oh, that's a lot. That's pretty far. I'm not gonna lie. And then he basically has a full 360 bicep swivel, and the basic Figuarts, I almost call it shoulder. Basic Figuarts elbow articulation. So I honestly like it better than what they were doing, where they had like the little like cut here, so to have the more like dynamic in arm posing. But there's nothing you can't do with like a little bit of a butterfly swivel, which it kind of seems like. No, that's just the regular ball peg swivel. And then that leads down to obviously, the ball peg into socket hand joint system, which, every company should use nowadays, or at least every company should use a kind of more practical or kind of along the same lines as Tamashi does. And then going up to his head, he has basically a full 360. Yeah, I mean, it's all on a ball joint, so it articulates pretty good. I feel like the collar kind of gets in the way of like a lot of downward motion, but that might just be the way I'm posing him. So he can look like this, and then just kind of, he just looks good standing there. I mentioned the accessories before, so I'm just going to talk about the hands now. So he comes with a weapon holding hand, or at least for his for the knuckle. Then he comes with 2 fists. Then he comes with he comes with open hands, but I have the twin set of those open hands over there. Then he has, I would want to say these are the relaxed hands, but they're probably not. Then he has, this can either be for the knuckle or for the sword, and this is for the gun hand. I will say, another qualm I have, and I know probably they'll bring it in when they do Autovagin, if they end up doing Autovagin, he doesn't come with a sword. Luckily for me, I have the original Faiz Figuarts, so I have the sword. So I can still do that when I can take pictures. So now I'm going to get into qualms. One big one I have is the belt doesn't stay in the port that you put it in. I just might have to do something to kind of make it stick a little bit better. And then the ankle bits are a little bit floppy for my liking, but probably I could do something about that. And then his shoulder pads, I think mine are just offset a little bit, so it kind of gives the silhouette a little bit of a uncanny kind of appearance. So let's get into some comparisons. So just because I have it, I'm going to bring it out. Here is my original Faiz. And oh boy. Oh man, this is just really funny. Just like how much taller the new Faiz is. Just a lot of the comparisons, I would say. As you can tell, there's some bits that I've lost over the probably better half of a decade or better of a decade having it. But just like the size of the head, the proportions, obviously, this is like 2010, 2011 probably when this figure came out. I'm not sure, some of these older, Figuarts have barcode, not barcodes, but stamps on them to tell you when they came out. But he just old Faiz served his purpose, and I'm glad we had what we had, and it looked good for a long time, but we have the new stuff, and it's great. So now, standing him next to a more recent Kamen Rider Figuarts, at least the male buck, we have SHF Tycoon. So you can see he kind of stands probably like a smidgen shorter than Tycoon is. But that might just be the way I stand him, or I don't know, maybe Tycoon's just like a little bit taller than other riders, and then that's the Keiwa luck, I guess you could say. Then let's stand him next to another Shinkocchou Seihou of Captain Marvelous. I don't know if it's just Marvelous specifically being shorter, or Sentai Figuarts being a little bit shorter, but I think it's a good look. I mean, obviously the head fin doesn't really help at all for that kind of situation. So you can see here he looks pretty good standing next to Captain Marvelous. I'm really hoping that we get more Seihou Sentais in the future. Let's stand him next to another Inoue creation. That is Don Momotaro from Don Brothers, obviously. And yeah, this is modern SHF engineering plus, return of SHF Super Sentai. They look really good together, and I'm actually in a watch through of Faiz, so it's kind of appropriate that I'm doing a Faiz review right now. So let's get all the import figures out of the way, and let's compare him to some domestics. Here is Marvel Legends Spider-Man. And then here is him next to Lightning Collection Putrid. So, I mean, obviously, SHF is a Japanese or import style 1/12 scale. These guys are American style 1/12 scale, so their heights are going to be definitely different than, Japanese import scale and all that kind of stuff. But also, your mileage may vary. So. And that, my dudes, was my look at the SH Figuart Shinkocchou Seihou Kamen Rider Faiz. Let me know what else you want to see. Like, comment, subscribe, following me on my socials. Do what you want to do. So, I'll try to get that real review out as soon as I can. I'm just saying. So, you guys have a good one.